Ready when you are.
Right. So it brings me great pleasure to say that I'm sat here now with Jerome Blind Boy Paxton, all the way from South Central to Steel City, Sheffield. How are you doing today?
Exquisite.
Fantastic. And this isn't your first time over in the UK, is it? You've been here a couple of times before now, but this is your longest stint, would I be right in saying?
Is it? I think so.
Right.
I think this is the longest bunch of playing.
Right.
I think I was here and I had some fun and stayed here for God knows how long. Just don't remember it.
Right.
That's how much fun I had.
And how do the people in England tend to treat you over here? I mean, what sort of reception do you tend to get?
Fuzzy eyebrows at first.
Right.
You know, and they enjoy.
Right.
They're quickly followed by one another.
Fantastic. So over this summer, you've been exceptionally busy playing shows here, there, and everywhere. What shows stood out for you this summer, particularly sort of events-wise? I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what are you looking for out of a show to make it successful in your eyes?
Well, the most successful shows is the ones when the audience and you have a nice little communion together. Yeah. It happened last night. I had a real good audience, you know.
And where was that show?
What's the name of the place? I can't think of.
Telford Warehouse.
There you go.
Telford Warehouse.
That Telford Warehouse. That was a good place, and the audience was nice and kind of, real receptive.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
They gave me back as much as I gave them, so it all ended up in us having a good time and me playing too long. And
sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. And forgive me, Jerome, for asking some questions that you may have answered 101 times back in the States, but obviously, over in the UK, you're still a fresh face. Well, you're still a fresh face in the United States. But I guess what I'm getting at is, what was your musical upbringing like, and how were you exposed to traditional roots music and Cajun and styles that you perform today?
Well, that's the music of my people. My family has been in Louisiana forever. 8,000 years if you go on a certain side of my family. Right. That's why it tickles me when people say, America ain't that old. I was like, what you talking about?
Of course it is.
I remember before there was trees. That's the music of my family. I grew up listening to the blues and country music, and there's a lot of Creole people in Southern California where I grew up, so music was abundant.
So that's where you grew up then, over on the West Coast, but now you reside in New York, an infectious city. And what sort of, in all the right and wrong ways.
Protect yourself.
But what sort of drew you to New York? What sort of kept you there?
Well, in New York there's a good jazz scene. That's what I went there for. Become a piano player, and when I got there and realized not too many places had pianos, I became a banjo player. Right. I was already a banjo player, but I had more work as a banjo player. Yeah. And I won't say that cooled off, but after a couple years, my career as a solo musician started to take off. Mm-hmm. So now I'm doing this. I'm coming over here.
Fantastic, and we couldn't be happier to have you.
It's good to be here.
Fantastic. So which of the instruments did you start playing first? I mean, you're surrounded constantly, it seems, by fiddle, banjo, you mentioned piano, and of course the guitar. How did you sort of become such a master at all these instruments? Because obviously a lot of people will take a lot of time to focus on just the one, but you seem to be able to move from one thing to another, seamlessly. Which was your sort of introduction to the world of instruments? The
fiddle was the first. Some reason in my head I always remember having a harmonica. I think that was might have got it in a little grab bag as a birthday present.
They're a good present for kids. I've bought several, young family members for birthdays, harmonicas. They make for great presents for youngsters,
It's a good start in the music.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get more music out of that than you do a recorder. You annoy far less people with a harmonica than you do a recorder. Yeah. Bad harmonica players in key.
Yeah. You don't have to tread as carefully as, say, the fiddle, which you just mentioned that you started out on first. How did that go?
It went awful. It went terrible. Yeah, I think my mama still has animosity towards me and the fiddle.
Right.
For starting off that way. It's fiddle's a precocious little instrument. It takes a lot of knowledge about music to play the fiddle good. And like most kids, I played Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for far too long. My mama told me I should leave the cat dead instead of trying to resurrect him.
Right. Okay.
So I switched from that. I played that for about 2 years and went to the banjo with the idea to keep up the fiddle, but the banjo was so addictive.
It is an absolutely addictive instrument.
It was so addictive that I just forgot about the fiddle until about 3 years ago.
Right.
After I played the banjo a couple of years, I didn't switch, I added the guitar.
Right.
Just saw a few films on blues. And
this is a lovely guitar you've got. Sorry to interrupt, but I've just realised Fraulini is it the maker of guitars. It's exceptional. Where did you pick this up?
My friend Todd Cambio, who makes Fraulini guitars, made this for me.
Wow.
He's a great guitar maker, and I like the way he makes guitars. He listens to the style that you play, and the way you play, and how you address the instrument. And he said, I got an instrument you'll like. I played a few of his, and he said, I'll make one for you that suits your style.
What an honour.
And he made it. I told him what I like in instruments, and he made it to fit.
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, obviously it sounds great, but aesthetically as well, the pick guard on there is totally unique.
It's inlaid, if you could.
Oh wow, it is as well. It doesn't look it, but it is. Fantastic. Well, this seems like a perfect opportunity. If you're happy to, would you care to play us a number?
Sounds good. Since we're talking about this guitar.
Yeah, show it off.
Yeah, see, since blues is to be expected, and I like going beyond expectation, I'll play you a little ragtime.
Sounds good.
It's from New Orleans, probably around 1902 or so. Can't make them all.
Fantastic. Thanks. Well, thank you to your friend for making the guitar, and thank you for playing it like that. That's fantastic. And that piece there, I mean, how much of that did you alter? How close is that to the original composition?
It's as close as I've got it to.
As close as damn it. That's what we say over here in Yorkshire. That's what we tend to say.
There you go.
So, what do you think it is about sort of traditional roots music, and I mean, obviously you're massively interested in history on the whole, as everybody should be at some point, if not all of their life. What is it about traditional music that resonated with you as a performer and as an instrumentalist?
Well, it's the music I always played. It's the first music I played. It's the first music that tickled my ear. Music was just sort of white noise before I found what I liked. I grew up in a landfill with hip hop and all sorts of other things.
Yeah.
And it was there. And there was no connection. It was just sounds
white noise, like you say.
Sounds other people made. And then I remember the first time I heard some good down home music. Some music I didn't know I had that big a connection to it, but there was something that resonated in me. And it's like a light bulb going off.
Yeah.
And it immediately made me go, what was that? So from the time about 8 years old, I knew what I liked.
Can you remember the record the song that you heard that sort of turned that light bulb on?
It was one or maybe two things. It was most likely, I remember going absolutely nuts about Bucker White doing Bucker's Jitterbug Swing and Parchment Farm. It was either one of those two, because he would come on the radio back home. And the other one I went crazy for was Scott Dunbar doing Easy Rider.
Yep.
And it tickled me to death.
No one would blame you.
Exactly. Nobody did.
Yeah, nobody did. I like it. Oh, brilliant. So, when it comes to recording, what sort of processes are involved for you? Like, how would you go about recording your music? Obviously, it's a traditional style. And would I be right in saying that you did some recording with Frank Fairfield?
Yes. We re-recorded some together a few years ago, and he recorded my album I've got right now.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And so where did that take place? Was that in New York he recorded you?
No, that was in Los Angeles. That was in the Museum of Jurassic Technology.
Wow.
Which I can think of no better place for somebody like me to operate.
Right. Brilliant. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Right. So, I mean, if you wouldn't mind playing another tune, I'm sure my listeners would love to hear something.
Let's see. Play a song. The way Frank recorded this record was a good idea. I liked his idea behind it, and Frank is one of the people I trust musically.
Right. Yeah. Well, he too is an exceptional player.
And we sat up there at the museum, and I think I recorded 30 songs the first night. And Frank just picked 10 or 12 of them, which was good, and that was the record. Let's see.
Play your favourite from the record, maybe.
Let's see. There's all right. I forgot there's 2 banjo songs. Somebody told me that the song comes from Scotland. I didn't know that.
Right, okay. That was going to start talking about whether you were influenced by English folk at all, and Scottish and obviously Irish, Celtic.
Yeah. Well, I'm American. That's ever present over there. Some people, they say this song came from Scotland. I didn't know that. I always thought the song was American in origin from the time of the Civil War. At least that's when the words are from. But there's a long history of stealing in my country.
Take that as you will.
We just crazy about a feather bed. Love somebody, yes we do. Love somebody, yes I do, but I can't tell you. $0.25 for whiskey, 15 cents for beer. Oh, big dollar for morphine, it'll take you away from here. Mama got a boy, don't feel so joy.
Fantastic. Thank you ever so much for playing another one for us there. So Scottish.
That's what they say.
I would never have guessed that was Scottish. It doesn't
me.
sound Scottish to me at all.
Wait a minute. Now let's see. I might correct it. Well, see, this is a big African boat paddle that they call a banjo. You see.
Right.
So it has the ability to, to change things. Well, if I play it on the fiddle.
Well, we've had 2 out of the 3, so we may as well make it a hat trick.
Same song. So a little. I play it in the same key. Maybe a little.
It sounds more Scottish when it's played on the fiddle than when it was played on the banjo. So, what was there a definitive moment for you when you sort of decided that this was something that you could pursue? Because I mean, when we watch you play, it's just there's so much passion in it that it's almost as if there was nothing else you were ever going to do. Not because you weren't capable, but because
I dig it.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. So was there a defining moment where you sort of went, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm going to do, and it's what I love,
No.
Was there not? Right, it just sort of so it came quite gradually then, did it?
It came gradually and naturally. As I've been growing older at the ripe old age of 26.
Right.
I've sort of started taking life as it comes, and it's how I got to where I am.
It's the best way to do it. Take every day as it comes. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the path of least resistance is the most comfortable path.
That's a good philosophy.
Yeah.
Is that one of yours, or did you hear that?
Well, I guess it's one of mine.
Right, yeah. So for a lot of our listeners that are obviously interested in American music in all its forms, but have never been over there, what are your favourite places in the States to play? I mean, obviously you go all over consistently. But are there any particular parts of the country that stand out for you in terms of everything really?
The state of Louisiana, where my family has come from, has some of the best music in the world. Over there in New Orleans, music 24/7, and it's all good. Everything I found was good.
Yeah. yeah.
Every place my friends hang out is good. Same with Lafayette and Breaux Bridge on the west side. In New York, there's tons of places to go here.
You've gone around the country now,
exactly.
So that's good. That's good.
California, I think's got some of the best musicians in the world. Some of the boys I learned from, I think there's no better musicians anywhere, and I've been a heap of places. Unfortunately, ain't venue enough to see them out with all that space. If that ain't a shame. So those are about my 3 favorite places to be.
Brilliant. Now, thank you ever so much for taking the time to do this. But I'd like to conclude the sort of interview by this interview is going to be aired on a railroad themed show. It's all about trains and the railways throughout the UK. And slightly oddly, I was going to ask, we'll play a song for you next. Your favourite song about the railroad?
See. Well, how about Reuben Train's a good one. Could do an imitation of Train.
You don't have to play. Well, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead. Because as I say, it's a train-themed show, which is a.
You want to get gnarly? I think this might be suitable if I can find the right keyed harmonica that works. Santa Fe. Texas Midland. Cadillac. Hobo sitting on the rail.
There's a man who knows his trains. No, it's brilliant. So yeah, you can catch Jerron playing around the country for the next couple of weeks, and then I think you're heading out towards Israel, aren't you?
On 17th.
Fantastic. Are you playing any shows out there, or?
Yeah.
Well, you'll always be playing. Always be playing.
I got 12 shows out there. It's gonna be a good time.
Fantastic.
Invite all the Mishbucher to come.
Absolutely. And will that be your first time out to Israel then?
No.
No, you've been before.
That'll be my third or fourth time.
Oh,
third
right,
time,
okay.
I believe.
Brilliant. Right, well, yeah, thank you ever so much for taking the time to do that before your show. Really appreciate it. This has been great.
No problem. Good times.